What's up everybody? In this video I'm going to be discussing tires, knockoffs, what PSI, what to clean your white walls with, things of that nature. But before I do, make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment in the comment section below. If you can't find what you're looking for in this particular video, make sure that you go to the description section below. It has all of the previously posted videos that I've ever made, and a lot of the answers to your questions will be in those different video links. Also, make sure that you follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. The links are in the description below. Tennessee on Hydraulics. Okay, so let's talk about PSI. How much PSI should be in your tires? Now, before I made this video, I made sure to ask several friends what their opinions on the situation was, because my opinion may differ from other people's opinion. But to come to a median, it's basically for a lay and play type of setup, if that's what you're running. It depends on weight of the car, but for the most part, for a lay and play setup, it's between 50 and 60 PSI, give or take. Now, yes, that's higher than the approved rating that runs on these tires the majority of the time. Most of the time, it's about 44 pounds, 45 pounds, something like that. But we always run them a little bit higher because the weight of the car, smaller wheels, larger tires. Anyway, the point is for a lay and play setup, the median of what everybody agrees on is pretty much between 50 and 60 PSI. Now, once you jump into a street hopper, one that's really getting some inches on the street, not a hopper, but a street hopper, you're looking between 60 to about 75 PSI, give or take a little bit in there. Now, once you reach about your actual hoppers, they're running at anywhere between 70 to even all the way up to 100 or more. Okay, so the types of air, you've got normal compressed air, but you've also got nitrogen. Nitrogen doesn't expand and contract as much as air does. So when temperatures rise and drop, nitrogen isn't going to make your tire pressure go back and forth. So if you have access to nitrogen, nitrogen is the better way to go, but air is also, an acceptable way that we've always done it. As a personal preference, I always run a tube on the inside of my wire wheels and tires. And for those of you that don't know what a tube is, imagine a bicycle rim and tire. You have a tube on the inside of it that actually holds the air. It's the same concept with your rims and tires on wire wheels. The main reason why I do it as a personal preference is because your spokes may one day start to leak. If you have a tube on the inside of that, you won't actually deflate the rim and tire because you've got that tube on the inside. In addition to that, you've got, for those of you that three-wheel a lot, you'll start to get a white ring around it. And if those of you that three-wheel a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It'll start to thin out the tire, but your tube is an added layer of protection. At least that's kind of the way that I look at it. Same thing for your main tread. Eventually, it's going to wear down, but the tube itself is another layer of rubber that is kind of keeping the air in there, if that makes sense. So that's why I like to have tubes. Now, like I said, it's just a personal preference. I have been told that it can throw off your balance a little bit and cause a little bit of a wobble, but as long as you have them balanced from the beginning, you shouldn't have any issues with that. And most of us don't do 100 miles an hour on our wire, so it's not going to matter too much to begin with anyway. So some common tire sizes would be for 13s 155 80 13. For 14s, something like 175 70 14, somewhere in there. With that said, to explain this just a little bit further, your first number is your tread. Your second number is a percentage of your first number, which is also the profile. So not to overcomplicate this, but let's just say that you want a tire that isn't as rolled as a 155 80 13. What you want is something like a 165 or a 170, 175, somewhere in there. But what you have to be careful with is that as soon as you change the width of the tread, you also change the size of your profile. So if you jump, let's just say from a 155 to a 170, then that 80, that second number, that 80 is now taller. Okay, so you have to be careful about that. You don't want too tall of a tire. So if you're trying to mess with the numbers, just remember, whenever you change this, it changes this, and vice versa. Your commonly used sizes are kind of a baseline to go with. So if you want to make changes, it's okay. Just remember that one change will change the other. So I get this question a lot. which side do each knockoff go on. So to put it in layman's terms, the easiest way to remember it is that the white goes on the driver's side, the red goes on the passenger side. Now, something that you may not know is that even when you go to tighten down your knockoffs, as you drive it and push on the brake really hard, it is supposed to tighten them down just a little bit further. So that's why they have a directional on there, and it's not just one, and why it does actually matter to put them on the correct side. For example, you put them on the wrong side, let's just say, and you're driving down the street and you slam on the brake, well, it's going to try to release them. So you want to make sure that you put them on the correct side. So I get asked a lot, how do you clean your white walls? Well, there's a lot of opinions on this particular subject, but to answer the question, me personally, when you first get your wheels and tires, you will have a blue ring on the white wall. That comes off very simple. What everybody's talking about is the browning that actually comes through eventually. And basically what I do is I get a simple white wall cleaner from any local parts store. You spray it on, and then I use what's called a pumice stone. This is a pumice stone. It's basically just a glorified rock, I think. And basically you just go around and scrub, and then keep applying your white wall cleaner and keep scrubbing. It is a pain in the butt. I will be honest, it's a pain in the butt. But here's the good news. After you do it the first time, most of your browning does come out. Now, it will probably turn brown again eventually. And again, you do the same process, but eventually most of that browning will come off and come out of the tire. From the way that it has been explained to me, the cause of the browning is one of two things. One, how the tire is made and what chemicals are in the tire that bleed out once they get hot and out on the road. Or the other thing is that I have but cannot confirm heard is that when you use tire shine that is like an oil based, it can cause the white walls to turn brown again. Now, me personally, I still do use oil based tire shine, but as I'm putting it on there, I make sure that I wipe off the white wall immediately. So basically I'll apply the shine, and then I take another cloth and make sure that I get all of the tire shine completely off of the white wall. Now, I probably have cleaned my personal ones probably, I don't know, 10, 15 times since I've had the wheels and tires. But the thing is that each time that you clean them with the white wall cleaner and the pumice stone, it's not as hard to clean them. So you're not getting as much browning over time. So basically the point is, at a certain point, the brown does eventually get thinner and thinner and thinner until it doesn't come back as often or as quickly. So what brand of tires should you go with? There's several different types. There's some cheap ones, there's some expensive ones, and it's all a personal preference. Me, as a rider that rides regularly and burns up tires, I just get the cheap ones, if I'm being brutally honest. But I know that it is a preference thing, and some people do really like to get the really nice tires, and that's completely fine. They do look great. The tread looks great. I definitely see the appeal. With that said, I burn them up. I ride a lot, so I don't really care. So the last bit of advice I'm going to give you is buy an extra set of the tires that you intend on using. And the reason is because a lot of these local tire shops, they don't have these tires on hand. So they're going to have to most likely order them, and you're going to have to wait several days for them to come in before you can even replace the tire. With that said, in 2020 and 2021, there was a little bit of a tire shortage for these particular types of tires. So they were a little harder to get. But not for me, because I had 3 sets just sitting at my house. So I had several friends that would blow tires, and they would come to me. I was able to provide them with tires, so it worked out great. But if you keep an extra set, you don't have to worry about that bad day happening. I hope you found this video informative. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment in the comment section below. It helps us grow our page. But in addition to that, go to the description area. I posted all the previously posted videos in there as well as our TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you still have a problem after looking through all of those videos, you can contact me directly through Lowrider Hydraulic Tips on Facebook. That page I manage. The messages come straight to me. So if you have an issue that you just can't find in any of the videos that I've already posted below, you can contact me there. But before you do, make sure that you take pictures of your setup. Tell me every single detail about your setup, what it's doing, what it's not doing, before you message me. That way I can answer your question as quickly as possible and get to the root of the problem that you're having.